So now that we understand how to work with the multi-core option, I want to show you how to work with these tabs again real quick. So I'm just going to pull this guy over like so. There we go. And I'm going to go over here and I'm going to open up that brush control panels again by just simply clicking on the dab profile. This will open up everything that was attached to the dab profile. I'll just double click that to minimize that again. Now you can see the space where this general tab used to be next to size, spacing, and angle. And if we click and drag this, you'll see that we're getting sort of a blue line in different parts of our interface. And that blue line is telling us where exactly this is going to be dropped. So if I drop that in there, I will get it right alongside these other guys. Now if I pull that out again, like so, and I put it in between at that blue line that was at the top, like so, you'll see that now this is on a separate section all by itself, separate from these guys. So again, if I want to bring it down, I just make sure that I get the blue line, and now we're rearranging our palettes. So all of these palettes, and that goes for any of these other palettes, can be arranged by dragging them off, dragging them back on, and just pay attention to where that blue line was, because that will have a huge, huge impact on where this is going to be. So I'm just going to go ahead and close that set of palettes out, and I want to focus on something else. But before I do that, I want to clear the canvas. And I'm going to show you a sequence of settings here that will help you to quickly experiment with brushes and whatnot. So we're going to go up to Select. We're going to choose All, which is also Control A. And then we're going to go to Edit, Clear. Now I can go back up here to Select and I can say Hide Marquee. Now what is the marquee? Well, if I go ahead and hold down the space bar so that we can see the edges of the canvas, this little marching ants that you see in the background here around the selection of our all, because remember we selected all, which means the entire canvas, those marching ants is known as the marquee. Well, as it's marching, as it's animated, it's taking up system resources. So if we go to Select, Hide Marquee, the selection is still active, which means that we can clear it anytime we want to. However, we're not taking up those system resources by showing the marquee. So I'll just go ahead and move this over a little so that you can see this. And I'll just go ahead and make a few more marks. Okay, so I'm just playing, I'm experimenting with the brush, I'm getting a feel for it. And then I just say Edit, Clear. And it's as simple as that. It's not very complicated. It allows us to quickly and easily experiment and then get back to where we were to begin with. Now, there's a whole category of brushes in Painter that are very, very special. And the reason why is because they have what's known as Impasto enabled. And Impasto is a two-part item. So right now what we're doing is we're drawing with color. And if I were to change the color by double-clicking over here on the color and either choosing a color here or by accessing the temporal color picker by holding down the Control-Alt and hitting the 1 and choosing a color here, which is what I'll do right now, and then drawing, you'll see that we're actually working with color, not just black and white. And what this allows us to do is to have full access to 256 shades of gray if it's a black and white, or millions and millions of colors if it's a color that we're working with. This is exactly what this whole circle and then this triangle basically amount to, is that if we pull over here to the side, you'll see that we're working in the 256 shades of gray. And if we go out here, you see that we have millions of possible color combinations by simply moving around this ring and then choosing a color from within the triangle. So millions and millions of color combinations that are possible. However, none of this includes the element of depth. And there are certain times when depth is something that you want, particularly when you're dealing with a thick paint like oil or acrylic. And to give you a good example of what Impasto looks like, I'm going to go Edit, Clear to clear my canvas. And then I'm just going to go over here to my brush chooser, and I'm going to go up to the very top, go to the acrylics category, and choose the top brush here, which is the bristle brush. Now, if you remember when we're working that our multi-core support is on because we haven't touched this brush before. So I'm just going to go up to our window and remember the brush control panels and general. And I'm just going to turn off multi-core and then close this guy. And now I could begin to work. And what you're seeing with this is Impasto. You see there's an actual depth here. And how we control this Impasto is it's its own special menu item. And I'll just change the color here so that we can see how the color is blending, but the Impasto is also blending. And if I just kind of scrub this, you'll see that our color and Impasto blend. This is known as color plus depth, and it's a special thing that is very unique, and it's really interesting visually, but at the same time it is a little bit complicated to work with, because let's say that we want to get rid of these colors here for some reason. So I'm going to hit edit clear, and then I'm going to choose a different brush, something that doesn't have impasto. So maybe I'll go back to my pencils, and I'll choose that 2B pencil again, and I'll just begin to draw that in like so. All right, so we've got that. Now I'm going to go back over here to our acrylics and our bristle brush, and I'm going to begin to paint in the impasto on top of this. All right, so let's say that now I want to get in there and I want to delete the impasto, but I want to keep the color information that I just put down. Well, what I can do is, instead of saying edit clear and clearing everything, what I want to do is I want to go over here to canvas, clear impasto. And when I do that, keep an eye on this depth information. See how the depth information is gone? Now, here's another really important keyboard shortcut, Control Z. That's going to undo. So you see here our depth information is back. And then if I go over here to redo is Control Y. So Control Z is undo, and redo is Control Y. So if I tap the Control Y keyboard shortcut, there we go. So now we've gotten rid of the impasto, Control Z, we brought the impasto back. And again, if we work on this a little bit more, let's say we pick a different color, begin blending these in with the underlying pencil marks, like so. We can also, in addition to going to canvas, clear impasto, we can also simply hide the impasto. And this way we can get a preview of what it would look like if we're wanting to see without the impasto what we would have. And maybe I want to go ahead and begin to paint some more. I don't need to go back and show impasto. And the reason why is because the second I click down with my impasto brush, my hidden impasto comes back and I can just paint on it without having to go back. So it's not something that's requiring me to do anything special about going back up here to canvas and hide or show impasto. Now, above that, there's a whole other dialog that's relevant to this. And you can tell that these are related because there's a black line above and a black line below. And we're going to talk about this surface lighting in the next video.